Are you into paranormal activity? How about horror stories? Some stories entertain you, and other stories stay with you long after the episode ends. But this one, you'll wish you could forget. Let me take you back to December 12th of 2010. Now, this is a story that I experienced. I've always been a firm believer of paranormal activity, and this one takes the cake for me, of what I've experienced at least. Back in 2010, December 12th. So in Mexico, we celebrate the Virgin Mary, December 12th. So it's like a really huge party. There's like a parade that goes through the whole town, bunch of people, bunch of dances. We take it to the church, and then in the church, they they do a whole thing where they got like bowls made out of so it's a frame of a bowl, but it's like metal. It's like rods, metal rods, and they'll put fireworks. So they'll put fireworks, they'll light them up, and then that bull will essentially chase you around. And it's like this huge event that happens on December, and we enjoyed that event. It was a great event. I was only 7 years old, and I remember this. And the people that were with me can actually stand behind me because they saw the exact same thing that I did. The day started right, everything was perfect. Um, like I said, the parade, we're walking through town, everything was good. The dances, I was actually part of the dances. Once the dances were done at the church, because most of the events were held at the church. Once the dances were done at the church and I was done with my performance, I actually just went and enjoyed the rest of the party, which is live event. There's like food throughout the whole street. There's just a street full of vendors, and there's like jump houses and a bunch of stuff. Mexico really did do it different back in the day. Now I'm not sure. I haven't been there since I was 9, so I left 2 years after that, and I've been here since. But this was a crazy story. So what happened was, after we were done with the performances, we started enjoying the party, whatever, and then Mexico is really free. So even me being 7 years old, I could go all throughout town without really getting in trouble. So after the event, we actually went to my cousin's house, and it's funny because once we got there, my two cousins found out that they were dating the same guy. How, I don't know, is Mexico. We didn't have phones back then. We didn't have a way to connect with others. It was all in person. So, you know, they were essentially dating the same person. They found out that day, right outside our house, and they ended up getting into like a fist fight, right? Normal things siblings do. I used to fight a lot with my brother, but so they got into a fight. Obviously, they ended up upset at each other, and one of the cousins actually ran up. Here, you guys may know it as a levee. So in Mexico, we call it a bordo, which basically is just like you go up a little mountain and then it becomes a street. Well, in Mexico, it was an actual street, like trucks, cars will go through it, and it was like a main street. Here, we just use it to kind of walk along the water, along the rivers. But in Mexico was an actual road. So she took off up, and mind you, this is already like 12 a.m. It's late at night. But like I said, we just had so much freedom to where it didn't really matter if it was 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning. We'd still be out in the streets just kind of playing around. So she took off up into the levee, running, and there was a group of six of us. Um, I want to say it was six of us. I think it was a little bit more, a little bit less. Not sure. It's been a long time. But we ran behind her to chase her. So we went up the levee, and she just took off. We were running right after her. And for some reason, it felt like she just kept pulling away and pulling away. And then she just disappeared into the darkness. And so we kept chasing her. We chased her, we chased her. And once we noticed that we couldn't really see her, that's when we just decided to start walking. But we still went in the direction where she was at. So we kept walking, kept walking. Then me, 7 years old, right? I started seeing a figure at the distance, pretty faint figure. It's pretty far out that way. Um, and I saw it, and I'm like, I just kept thinking, that's gotta be her. And, I mean, nobody else should be up here. It's 12 a.m. Everybody's enjoying the party. Some people are already going home. Like it's late. Everybody's sleeping, right? So I start seeing this figure, and I keep walking towards it. And I mentioned it to them. So we keep walking towards it, and the closer we get, the the more I can like see this figure, the more I can make it out, right? Um, and yeah, it was indeed a girl, but the closer we got, the scarier it got. Every step we took, we realized that it wasn't something normal. So once we got close enough to see what this thing was or who it was, we were maybe 10, 15 feet away from it. And we noticed that it was a girl. Uh, it was a kid, and she was wearing a white dress. But we couldn't see her face because her hair was over her face. So she had her hair coming down her face, and I remember she had a white dress, short white dress from the sleeves, um, but they covered her feet. Right now, the scary part was when we saw that she wasn't stepping on the ground. She was floating about, just say, 4 to 5 inches off the ground. She was floating off like 4 or 5 inches off the ground, and we got so scared when we got that close and we saw it. It was like split second, right? Like it wasn't like we got close, we stood there and we seen it, we like examined it. No, nothing like that. As soon as we got close, we realized what it was. We realized that it wasn't on the floor, and we couldn't see her face or nothing. So we turned around and we booked it. We just ran in the opposite direction back to the house, and we just kept running and running. And once we got closer, once we started seeing actual lights, because Mexico doesn't have lights, like they don't have street lamps, they don't have street lights, so it's dark. And at a levee, like the only light you get is the starlights and the moonlight. So we just took off, and as soon as we got into the lights, we all stopped, got in a circle, looked at each other, we started laughing, and we asked each other and ourselves if it was really true what we just saw. Um, and I know it's been a long time. I know that it was real. It was true. Like honestly, I believe in a lot of paranormal stuff, and to be experiencing something like that was like really like a really dramatic event. Well, essentially, the next day we told a bunch of people. Nobody really believed it until we find this one old guy. He was like really old. Everybody knew him as like the wisest person of the town, whatever. Went out to the guy, told him what happened. Come to find out, there was a girl um, at that house, right? Um, and there was a little girl, and where she was standing, and I forgot this important detail. She was standing under a tree, like really huge tree, right? Or she was floating under a tree because she wasn't standing on the floor. When we asked him, he said that a long time ago, years before we were even born, a little girl, um, she hung. She basically, you know, she did it under that tree, and it is believed that her spirit is still there. So what we saw was a real life spirit of the girl um, that is unfortunately not with us anymore. So it is a really dramatic event that I went through, and honestly, I don't wish it upon nobody, and I would never ever like to relive something like that because no, that was crazy. Although wanting to start this podcast, or wanting to start this paranormal stuff, horror story stuff, I want to encounter a lot of things. I do want to get to the point where I'm starting to interview people that have had similar or worse events happen with them. So I know that I'm going to come across a lot of these things, but honestly that they really changed it. Mainly, it was probably just because I was like really young and didn't really understand it. But now that I understand it a little bit better, I'm still scared and I wouldn't really want to do it again. But since I like this and like it's interesting, I like it. We're just gonna have to, you know, pick them up and excuse me, pick them up and move forward with trying to learn. This is a very interesting topic that I'm interested in. So I hope you guys enjoy with the stories that I'm going to be telling you guys. These are all going to be true stories. If you want your story featured, go ahead and email me, DM me, or just leave a comment, and then we can get in touch and we can figure out something to where your story can be heard as well. I am currently working on a video for you guys. It's a story that happened here. Actually, it happened here in the States, and the only problem was that the United States or America was not able to enjoy this story, mainly because it was in Spanish. Um, so the whole interview was in Spanish. Well, I was so intrigued by the story that I actually want to convert it over to English so that you guys can understand it as well. It was a long time ago. I won't tell you as much, but I do hope you guys stick around for that one because that was a crazy one and it is a very scary one. The interview alone, the phone calls, it was a really really crazy story. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you guys stick around for the stories I want to be telling.